93 Boxing. I'm back with a quick video. After the Kell Brook's performance, I know it's been a while since Kell Brook got fucked up by Errol Spence. Kell Brook has been getting a lot of criticism, but his fans are basically trying to say that, oh, Amir Khan may not have any quit in him. That's because he doesn't need to quit. His chin does it for him. You know, referring to a lot of these wins. Now, when Kell Brook got his face broken by Triple G, people are like, oh, it's because it's Triple G. That's why he got his face broken. But now he gets his face broken by Errol Spence. So he clearly has some glass face, I guess. Kell Brook, every time he fought a puncher, he got his face broken. Am I right? Now, you could say these are big punches, blah, blah, blah. But Khan fought some big punches and he got knocked out by big punches. No one looked at the fact that those guys were big punches. So at the end of the day, why should we look at Kell Brook getting his face broken by big punches? He got his face broken full stop, right? Every time he fought a puncher, he got his face broken. Weak face, I guess. I mean, shit can happen to anyone, but I'm just applying their logic on their own fighter. So that's that. And also, you know, Kell Brook got stopped on his knees. So I don't know why people say, oh, Amir Khan's chin gives out for him. Amir Khan against Danny Garcia got stopped on his feet, right? And for those who wants to remind us about Canelo, just like you said, oh, Amir Khan will get fucked up by Triple G as well, and Kell Brook got fucked up against Triple G because it's Triple G, hence he got fucked up. We must understand that Amir Khan got KO'd by Canelo is because he's fighting Canelo. You bet if Kell Brook faces Canelo, Kell Brook will get knocked the fuck out. For sure. And if you want to go back to Bredis Prescott was a puncher, right? And you know, everyone wants to talk shit about the Bredis Prescott win without looking at the actual facts like a little dummy. Bredis Prescott had 19 wins, undefeated, 17 KOs. Or TKOs, like 17 knockouts basically on his record. And I hope you can see this on your screen. So 17 knockouts out of 19 fights gives you a knockout ratio of 89.5%. That's a high knockout ratio. Now you could say Bredis Prescott was KOing bums, which I'll get into in a bit. Now out of those 17 knockouts, 15 of those knockouts have came within less than 3 rounds, like 3 rounds or less rather. So 79% of Prescott's wins have came within less than 3 rounds through KO or TKO. If you go to his record, it's always a bunch of KOs and TKOs, a lot of KOs. Now, yeah, Bredis Prescott did KO a lot of bums, but here's the thing. Let's look at who Kell Brook was facing at the time. Kell Brook, like Bredis Prescott, I think Khan faced him at like what, September? Around like before September, because Kell Brook didn't fight at September in 2008. This is when Prescott versus Khan happened. Kell Brook, before the Khan Prescott fight, Kell Brook fought a guy named Barry Jones who had 15 wins, 1 loss. And I went through his record, it's 6 TKOs. There's not a single KO on his record, right? So this guy has a knockout ratio of 37.5%. Now you compare, right, knockout ratio to Bredis Prescott and this bum. Bredis Prescott has 89.5% KO ratio, pretty much 90%, right? And that guy has less than 40%. So even if it was 40%, you double that, that's 80%. Prescott still has a higher KO ratio, even if you double the other guy's KO ratio. You double Barry Jones' KO ratio, Prescott still has a higher KO ratio. And not only that, 37.5% times 2 is less than 80, right? Less than 79%. Prescott's KO ratio within 3 rounds or less is higher than this Barry Jones's KO ratio, even when you double it. That tells you something about how big of a puncher Prescott was compared to the bum fighting. I'm not even going to go into it, but these bums that Kell Brook is facing. These bums that Kell Brook is facing doesn't punch compared to Prescott. Now, after the Prescott fight, Kell Brook's after Khan versus Prescott, Kell Brook fought another bum by the name of Kevin McIntyre. And Kevin McIntyre had 26 wins, 5 losses, and 8 stoppages, right? 8 knockouts. He does have a KO in there. And out of those 8 stoppages, 2 of those are stoppages on people who are turning pro, right? There's one guy that was turning pro that this bum couldn't stop. And this guy has a KO ratio of 25.8%. You know, I think you can triple his KO ratio, and Bredis Prescott still has a higher KO ratio. Bredis Prescott has knocked out more guys in terms of percentage KO ratio in 3 rounds or less than this bum has in any round. So you can see the statistics right here. And, you know, we're not going to go into saying, oh, Prescott fought bums, Prescott fought bums. For your record, these all guys fought bums. And out of all the guys that Barry Jones has beat, I think there was only one guy who has a winning record. That's a bum status right there. So, you know, you look at all this stuff, right? If I fight a little kid who has never fought in his life, physically weak, I might, and you know, who's skinny and shit, no power, I will not get knocked out. That's the chances of me probably not getting knocked out, right? Very small. But if I end up fighting a guy who's a professional boxer, they can punch quite a bit, knocking guys out, knocking other professional boxers out. And if I face him, chances are I might actually get knocked out. Now, if you face a guy who can punch it, you know, as a professional boxer, and you get knocked out, meanwhile I fight this little kid and I don't get knocked out. Now, that doesn't mean that my chin's better than yours. It doesn't. What it does is it might mean I might have a better chin than you. You might have a better chin than me. But the fact that you got knocked out and I didn't doesn't prove anything here. Doesn't prove who has the better chin. And that's something people don't realize. Young fighters shouldn't get at least rushed to fight punches. Prescott was a known puncher. At least at 135. You name me one fighter in Kell Brook's resume that has a KO ratio of Bredis Prescott before Sean Porter. Or even with Sean Porter, but before Sean Porter. You name me one fighter that Kell Brook has faced with that type of punching power before Kell Brook faced Sean Porter. I couldn't find a single guy around the time when Khan fought Prescott, who Kell Brook has faced, that even has an 80% KO ratio. There might be 1 or 2, but I very highly doubt it. Now, here's the thing, right? Kell Brook got his face broken. We can say, oh, Amir Khan keeps getting knocked out. Not realizing that it's because he probably faces a lot of punches. Every time Kell Brook faced a puncher, he got his face broken. Name me one puncher that Kell Brook has beaten. Name me one puncher that this bum fighting fraud by the name of Kelly Kardashian Brook has beaten. And for those who want to say, oh, why are you calling Kell Brook a Kardashian? It's Amir Khan that's a Kardashian. Think, man. Kell Brook is the one that made his name off someone else. That's what Kim Kardashian was doing. He was the one that's made his name off Amir Khan. Every time he was on the boxing media news or whatever, like in 2012, 13 or something like that, he was mentioning Amir Khan. I have never seen at the time Kell Brook. The only time I've seen it, I'll tell you what, most of the time, like 90% of the time, at least, probably 95% of the time, every time I've seen Kell Brook on as a title in one of those boxing media, it's because he's mentioning Amir Khan. The times he didn't mention it is because either he got stabbed. I'm not even talking about the incident in Spain in 2014. Or he tried to intrude the ladies' toilet. And this is a fact. Go Google, type in Kell Brook ladies' toilet. And the bar manager tried to stop him for obvious reasons. You are a male, or at least that's what it seems like. You should not be entering the ladies' toilet. Basic common sense, right? And Kell Brook physically assaulted the bar manager and injuring him badly. Then he was supposed to go to jail or community service. No, actually, he was supposed to go to community service, but his previous promoter, who he was with, Frank Warren, wrote a letter to this court to exempt him from the community service. And I remember this. This was in 2010, I believe, when Amir Khan was fighting Maidana. This guy was getting community services, trying to beg the court to not give him community services. Kell Brook's being called gay, unquote, by so many people, including Team Khan, and he didn't even bother to sue them. If it was, Team Khan said, right, that they had proof of Kell Brook, that they had some videos, right? And Team Brook didn't say shit. They could have sued Kell Brook. They could have sued Amir Khan, rather. I mean, Team Khan. Why didn't they? Kell Brook has yet to be a puncher. Amir Khan has actually beaten a puncher. We could say that, right? Kell Brook's a total bum. I mean, not really a bum, but he's a total fraud. Like, he's a hype job. Kell Brook's a hype job in the UK. He's not a bum. I take that back. But he's a hype job for sure. He's been living on the hype. He's been beating these shit level oppositions, right? Because when you fight shit level oppositions, you look better than if you would when you fight better level oppositions. And then he had one good win, living off that shit level, living off the good win, fighting shit level oppositions. Then you fight Golovkin, where you have nothing to lose. You got your face broken, trying to say who's the Spencer character, this and that, trying to avoid Errol Spence, trying to get the Amir Khan fight for a payday. And then you get Errol Spence. You got trapped, and you're trying to get Errol Spence. The only reason you fought Errol Spence is trying to keep the title. So hopefully you can get that Amir Khan fight. Because you've been calling out Amir Khan, but you haven't been calling out anyone in your weight division. You were in the most stacked weight division, and you pretty much didn't call anyone out apart from Amir Khan. And Amir Khan was not even in your weight division. You shameful shit. I mean, I actually like Kell Brook as a fighter, and I want him to do well as well. I kind of felt bad for him when he got fucked up by Errol Spence. But man, I actually wish him nothing but the best. But he needs to stop being a fraud. And I only get pissed off because a lot of these people, right? I know why Amir Khan gets a lot of hate, and people can deny what they want. They have all their own reasons. But Amir Khan, one of the main reasons Amir Khan gets hate in the UK, this is about the UK, is because he is an Asian and he's from a Islamic background. That's the only reason these fuckboys hate him. I mean, some people hate him for other reasons, obviously, but I'm going to make another video on that soon. And he's kind of hypocritical. There's so many, Ricky Hatton sniffing cocaine and shit. No one hate him as much as Amir Khan. You know, Floyd Mayweather was being disrespected by Ricky Hatton quite a lot, even in the ring, showing his butt and shit. Like Ricky Hatton, like, imagine if Amir Khan did that, how much hate he would get from the British public. But let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe. 93 Boxing. I'm out.